There is no sincere love than the love of food. Why, though, does the food that we love make us sick? Every year, approximately 48 million Americans, or 1 in 6, will contract a foodborne illness. Many consumers are unaware of some of the risks that exist during the food preparation process, what signs and symptoms actually are a foodborne illness, and how to prevent them. Because everyone is at risk for foodborne illness, knowing the symptoms, as well as ways to minimize the chances of developing a foodborne illness, are essential. Today we will discuss the most prevalent types of foodborne illnesses, the warning signs, as well as how to prevent them. First, we're going to look at a few of the most common types of outbreaks. We're going to talk about who can be infected by them, where they come from, and just some interesting facts. The first one we're going to talk about is botulism. Botulism is simply from just improperly storing your food. During my certification class, I learned that you can get botulism from a rusty can of food or leaving your mashed potatoes in a metal pot for too long without airflow. I also learned that children under the age of 1 should not have honey because honey contains botulism spores that can cause infant death. Alaska Native Americans have the highest botulism food outbreak because of their native practices of food preservations. The second foodborne illness is listeria. Listeria can be contracted through produce, soft cheese, and deli meats. Nationwide, 1,651 cases of listeria were reported between 2009 and 2011, and sadly the case for fatality rate was 21%. Listeria is rare, but it is preventable also. It can cause meningitis, fetal loss, or death. Adults over 65, pregnant women, or people with weak immune systems are at the highest risk to contract this bacteria. The next foodborne illness we're going to talk about is salmonella. We hear about this outbreak quite a bit. It's commonly found in eggs, milk, meat, and poultry, but has been found in cantaloupe and vegetables that can be in our salad bar. As of January 24th this year, 9 people were infected with salmonella that was linked back to a poultry factory in Tennessee. The Agriculture Department estimates that 40% of our chickens contain the salmonella bacteria. Did you know that salmonella from feces or sewage can survive weeks in our water and months in our soil if the conditions are right? And then our last foodborne illness we're going to talk about is E. coli. We do hear about E. coli a lot. E. coli lives in the intestines of humans and animals. Cross-contamination helps spread this bacteria. Improperly washing your produce and just not washing your hands can spread E. coli. The Center of Disease Controls and Prevention estimate that E. coli is responsible for as many as 20,000 illnesses and 200 to 500 deaths in the U.S. annually. It's extremely important to remember that anyone can be infected with E. coli, and that if we don't practice improper hygiene, we will continue to spread it. Next, we will look at the signs and symptoms associated with these types of outbreaks.
Salmonella is one of the most common forms of food poisoning. It produces symptoms such as stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Usually these symptoms show up within 8 hours of eating the contaminated food, and often severe dehydration follows with this, so people will have to be treated intravenously in the hospital to replenish those lost fluids. Escherichia coli, commonly known as E. coli, is another common one that we hear about. It has the same symptoms, but usually a bloody diarrhea accompanies it. If not treated, it can lead to severe anemia, kidney failure, and even death. Last year, there was actually a multi-state outbreak of this that came from ready-to-eat salads. 32% of the people had to be hospitalized, and an additional 2 people developed a syndrome known as hemolytic uremic syndrome, which basically what that is a condition that results from the abnormal premature destruction of red blood cells, so a very serious condition. Listeria, another common one, is usually found in processed cheese, and it has similar symptoms to the other ones, but it can actually enter into the nervous system. Once it's there in the nervous system, symptoms include headache, stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions. Finally, botulism from the bacterium Clostridium botulinum is another very serious one, and it causes death often if people don't take the steps needed to get rid of it. Symptoms include blurred or double vision, droopy eyelids, slowed speech, difficulty swallowing, mouth dryness, and muscle weakness. Infants can also contract this, and symptoms for them are poor feeding habits, constipation, weak crying, lethargy, and poor muscle tone. Symptoms usually develop within 18 to 36 hours with this one, but it can actually develop up to 10 days after eating the contaminated food. So next we're going to be looking at how we can actually prevent foodborne illness in our homes, as well as mistakes that we all make that put us at risk.
Many researchers agree that one primary source for foodborne illness is the home. Foodsafety.gov provides the following recommendations for food safety. Clean, separate, chill, and cook. Let's start with clean. Before we even get to the kitchen, there's a popular trend in the supermarkets that may be putting you at risk. How many of you are using these reusable grocery bags? While they reduce waste, they also put us at risk when we fail to wash them in between uses, allowing bacteria to grow inside. In the kitchen, some common activities that may seem harmless increase your risk of contracting foodborne illnesses. We often use the sink to wash our hands, wash dirty dishes, wash raw fruits and vegetables, bathe small children and pets, and wet mops. The risk occurs when we fail to wash our sink in between these activities. Let's move to the refrigerator. Listeria is one bacteria that has been identified as growing inside our refrigerators. The CDC recommends cleaning spills immediately with soap and hot water and then rinsing the surface. When was the last time you cleaned the inside of your refrigerator? Another often overlooked cleaning recommendation is cleaning raw fruits and vegetables even if you are removing the skin before eating them. The CDC also recommends using a 3% hydrogen peroxide solution for cleaning melons before cutting them. Let's move to separate. It's important to keep unwashed vegetables, raw meat, and ready-to-eat foods in separate areas of your refrigerator to avoid cross-contamination. Staying in the refrigerator, let's move to chill. Did you know that overpacking your refrigerator increases your risk? Not only is cross-contamination a concern, but overpacking your refrigerator reduces airflow, causing the temperature to rise beyond safe levels. Our final recommendation is cook. While we are all aware of the recommended temperatures for cooking meats, we fail to use thermometers to ensure that our food has reached these safe temperatures. In addition, most people are not aware of the recommended rest period for steaks, roasts, pork chops, fresh pork, and ham. It is recommended that these meats be allowed to rest for 3 minutes after cooking them to allow the temperature to continue to rise for complete bacteria destruction. Next, we'll take a look at preventing foodborne illness before our food makes it to the home and the processes it goes through during production.
Surprisingly, there are many ways the food we eat gets contaminated. It could occur during the production, processing, and distribution of our food. Water is something that is involved in all three of these procedures, which is why it's a major component in food outbreaks. Making sure the water sprayed over fields of fruits and vegetables, the water used to wash food, and the water consumed by animals that we will later consume isn't contaminated is a tremendous help in preventing outbreaks. Even checking the water used in forming ice that is used to pack or chill food items is preventative care. Another preventative care is not using uncomposted manure for fertilization. Composted manure is exposed to high temperatures, which helps destroy pathogens present. During processing, a lot of cross-contamination can occur, which is a cause of many outbreaks. But using methods like having separate areas for raw and ready-to-eat foods and then labeling these areas can help decrease the risk of outbreaks. Food production facilities are a place very susceptible for pathogens and bacteria to be present. Using antibacterial disinfectants and sanitizers for cleaning the equipment at these facilities and on the facility itself that meet official standards help prevent outbreaks as well. Cleaning food products and facilities is obviously necessary, but with cleaning can bring moisture, and microorganisms love moisture. Having a dry environment and using dehumidification systems in the facilities can also help prevent outbreaks. There are many other methods to prevent outbreaks that are used frequently, like pasteurization, freezing, pickling, and using lye. But one treatment that is used for preventing outbreaks that many people don't know about or are skeptical of is the treatment of radiation. When radiation is used on food to prevent contamination of microorganisms, It is called food irradiating. Many people think that because it's the use of radiation, it makes our food radioactive, but that's not true at all. Food irradiating is not harmful to food. It also does not decrease the nutritional value of food. Astronauts have eaten irradiated food since the 70s, and just like other methods of processing food, it would cost the manufacturer something, but it also increases the storage life and the hygiene of the food. All in all, food irradiating is a beneficial method for everyone involved. In conclusion, as you can see, foodborne illnesses can be very serious and require both consumers and food producers to follow established guidelines in order to prevent outbreaks. We have discussed some of the different types of outbreaks, including their warning signs and symptoms. We have also discussed specific steps that can be taken in order to prevent foodborne illnesses at home as well as during food production. Many scientists are working on ways to better ensure food safety, like food irradiating. Educating the public about foodborne illnesses as well as the correct methods done during production to prevent these illnesses will help to reduce the occurrences of future outbreaks.